Hello and welcome to Make Me an Island, and once again, in the absence of you people in the audience, we're back here at the Sugar Club for another live listening party. I've been following the music of our guest today for the last few years, and I am tremendously excited for the album he's going to release very shortly, produced by another one of our esteemed guests today, Brendan Kenkinson. So our third guest, Ultan O'Brien, has already, the man of many faces, has already been a guest on Make Me an Island, as has Brendan Kenkinson. But today, for the first time, making his debut, the chief himself, and give it over to John Francis Flynn, if that is your real name, John.
It is my real name. Yeah, Francis was lesser known for years, but it's in the fore now.
That you're greeting your daddy is sleeping, and it is not time for to waken him wish that you're greeting your daddy is sleeping, and it is not time for to waken him yet. Oh, my son Tim was a bosun's mate. He could but a whistle, but he never ran a rate. When the thoughts of his mother came into his head, you couldn't understand one word he said. But to raya, follow da, whack, follow diddle, follow dido. Well, up comes Tim without any legs, and in the place he had two wooden pegs. Well, was it walking across the sea? Why your two fine legs on the knees away with your two raya? Follow da, whack, follow diddle, follow dido. Oh, were you drunk or were you blind when you left your two fine legs behind? A comb of brown, but you were the silly youth, not to run away from the Frenchman's shoot with your two raya. Follow da, whack, follow diddle, follow dido. I was neither drunk nor neither blind when I left my two fine legs behind. When up came a bloody grey cannonball, took away me sea boots, I was getting on with your two raya. Follow da, whack, follow diddle, follow dido. Oh, Timmy boy, his mother cried, them two fine legs was your mammy's pride. Them stumps of a tree wouldn't do it all. Get the right to run away from the big cannonball with your two raya. Follow da, work, follow diddle, follow dido. And now I cross a Asian maid and Napoleon Bonaparte and the Queen of Spain. And I will make them do the time that they took away the legs of a child of mine with your two raya. Follow da, work, follow diddle, follow dido. With your two raya. Follow da, whack, follow diddle, follow dido. Sometimes I'd wondered what happened to time when it passed. Then one day I found out that time lands in prison, and there it is, held fast. When I was a young man, I used to go courting. I dream of the moon and the stars. Well, the moon is still shining, but daydreams, they are all broken. All over these iron bars. So look out your window, look over the rooftops, look over the walls, see the sky. With one flying leap, you could make your getaway. If only you could fly. The prison is sleeping, and the night watch is keeping his watch over 700 men. And behind every cell door there lies a lag dreaming. Oh, to be free once again. So write me a letter addressed to my number, but say you remember my name. Remind me of the world outside. Make me feel like a man once again. I got time on my shoulders. I've got plenty of time on my mind. There's no summer nor winter when you land inside it. There's only the old prison grind.
The last one's a song called The Lag Song. It was written by Ian McCall. It was sung by a few people, including Ian McCall. It was sung by Luke Kelly as well. But I got it in a session in the Cobblestone from a singer called Shay Weldon, who's Liam Weldon's son. I used to sing this song. And I used to think it was a Liam Weldon song because it was his son singing. It was actually, as I say, Ian McCall. This one's Lovely Joan.
Pretty fair maid, and twice good morning, so she said. He gave her the wink, she rolled her eyes, as he to himself, I'll be there by and by. Don't you think those books of hay a pretty little place for us to play? Follow me like a sweet young thing, and I'll give you my golden ring. He's taking off his ring of gold, my pretty little mister, this behold. I'd freely give it for your maidenhead, our cheeks they blush like the roses red. that ring into my hand, and I will neither stay nor stand. It would do more good to me than 20 maidenheads, said she. And as he made for the blues of hay, she leapt on his horse and tore away. He called, but all in vain. Young Joan, she never looked back again. She did not think herself quite safe until she reached her true love's gate. She robbed the lord of his horse and his ring, and left him to rage in the meadows green.
John Francis Flynn of the Philip Broken Glass Ensemble. What a beautiful set. Thank you so much, John. I suppose you mentioned there before that last epic song about Shea Weldon and hearing in the cobblestone. In the last few years, I've just known you to be, I've seen you, I've been lucky enough to see you kind of heading towards this album, but that world is very much like a place that you've come from, and it's been where you've been existing in for a while. Like, before I know you, how long have you been kind of playing around and singing at those same things?
Like I've been playing Irish music since I was a child, but like that whole thing maybe started out for me. I grew up with the Peets, their family, like our families are friends. So like Brady, she was a bit older than me, so I was mates with her sister. But around the time when I turned 18, 19, I kind of started hanging out with Brady, and through that met all the Lankham heads, and there was a little scene started forming around that, and we'd all kind of, we all just had an interest in singing, and we started like just singing sessions or whatever. We'd end up back in someone's house, usually Dara Lynch's kitchen or whatever, we'd be singing songs. But the cobblestone, separate from that, because I play flute as well for tunes and stuff, I'd go in there a good bit, and then the odd time you'd come across the likes of Nellie Weldon or Shea Weldon or Sean Garvey would come in the odd time, and you'd hear these, because mostly it's tunes in the cobblestone, but then you'd hear these amazing singers just every once in a while. So you'd definitely pick up things by chance and then learn them and bring them then to the sessions with the lads, and you know. So I suppose since probably the last 10 years I've been at the singing kind of.
I suppose, because there's a few bridges to that, to the previous generation with the Goleen as well as the Weldons, where the Goleen's going strong, and very much what we're talking about, The Night Larry Got Stretched, etc., is kind of new versions or new blood versions of that wonderful thing, you know. But so we'll say the 10 years that you have been in or around that, you've kind of really been slowly arcing towards the making of a record, which is why we're here.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, like, I never really thought about making a record up until, like, seriously about making a solo record. I was at Skipper's Alley and stuff like that, we'd made a couple of records, but the thought of making a solo thing never really, I never meant to be a professional musician or anything like that. I was just, it just kind of...
Oh, don't apologise.
But it just kind of kept happening, and I wasn't really doing anything else but playing music, and a slow path over 10 years to make a record, like, you know. But it just, you know, like, as other bands kept growing, like, people started asking me to do solo gigs and stuff like that, and then through that I was like, maybe I will do this. And then, so it just kind of happened by chance over time, you know, like that.
Well, by chance, I would say, just I've been lucky enough to see the latter part of that evolution, where it's gone from, you know...
I've been really thinking about it over the last, like, I mean, it happened by chance, but then it's been very definite for a few years. Like.
Yeah, and it's probably those years that I've kind of been watching your efforts, which have been, you know, concerted efforts, and that's why I'm so excited to hear what you've done. So, I mean, in terms then of the writing, John, how long would you have been... would you have been at that pretty much throughout those 10 years, or has that been sort of something that's also slowly evolving?
In terms of like the arrangements that I do with these songs, like, some of the arrangements I have been for some of the songs, like I played the Lag song there. That's not actually on the album. That'll be on that'll be on another album. Okay. It just didn't fit into the scheme of things, but that arrangement has been there on a banjo usually for about 5 years, whatever. So that's a long time, quite a long time. But then the arrangement around it with Ultan and Brendan, and then Ross, who's not here, those kind of things have happened only in the last year and a half kind of thing. Well, Ultan a bit longer, because we've been playing with him in Skipper's Alley, and we, like, if I got a solo gig, like, I'd ask Ultan, but like, my idea to expand it out into a different kind of sound world, it wasn't quite traditional kind of thing happened, and I was like, I have to collaborate with people.
Yeah.
I didn't want to collaborate with people who came from a trad background.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to collaborate with someone who'd like completely come from somewhere else, you know, but who I also kind of got along with and knew, whatever, you know, even, you know, just connected with, even though it wasn't, you know, the same music, you could still, it seemed kind of, it's odd, but it works so instantly as well.
Right.
Most of the time, you know.
You mean instantly in the sense that...
In terms of like with Brendan and with like, with Ross, you know, it kind of seemed to, there wasn't that much in terms of, I didn't have to like explain too much. We just played and it came out. So that end of things has only happened in the last year and a half or so. But it was always in my head to do something like that. I was just kind of finding the right people.
Yeah. That's funny because, so when I say writing, I meant that like you really do invent places for these songs to go to, and they're like sound worlds as such, right? So when you say it's been in your head, I mean, it's so when it's kind of instantaneous that you know what it is it so that like over the time that you've been singing those songs that you kind of knew instinctively where to put them or where to go with them, and that just the kind of dream of the right people just kind of was realized recently?
Yeah, I already knew where they were going.
Yeah.
I knew what world they were going into.
Yeah.
Like say with Lovely Joan, that arrangement is,
which we heard there.
Which you heard there, yeah. And that's on the album. But like that arrangement came from like a place of like that's a 250-year-old song. Well, I don't actually know how old it is. Very old song.
Yeah.
At least a couple of 100 years old, and you know, the language in the song is even quite like it's odd. Yeah. You know, and it's about. It's like a weird fairy tale kind of situation, you know, with a weird lad and a woman who like robs his horse. And
horse robber.
Yeah, fair play to her. But like, you know, it's that weird world, and I was like, I don't really connect with that. Yeah. But I connect with the melody, and I connect with it in a dream space. Yeah. So like that arrangement was totally. It was less direct than say the Lag song arrangement. It was like it had to be kind of a floaty, dreamy kind of space. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And I had a finger picking pattern that I was just doing. I was like, that could actually work. That's a kind of a floaty kind of thing. And so I just paired the two of them together. Yeah. So I didn't actually, it was just two separate things that were both floaty or dreamy that I kind of put together, and they just happened to work. And then I was like, oh, loads of things could happen around this, like. Yeah.
Well, I just want to, at this point, to introduce Brendan, because, Brendan, how long have you actually known John, or is?
We actually were in college together.
Oh, right. You have previous.
Yeah, we don't really talk about much because neither of us finished the course.
Oh. Okay. Well, luckily it's not an educational achievement podcast, so it's. But those kind of that world that John's talking about inventing there, Brendan. I mean, as a producer and as a wonderful musician yourself, I guess that's where you come in when somebody kind of like describes what he's just described, and then am I right in saying, as in that's the kind of brief there?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it's like I feel like I'm sort of playing around with sounds all the time, and then for John to appear and say he had some songs, it's kind of like.
Yeah, wonderful. And so the actual process then, did you spend, when was the whole thing in terms of the timeline of the recording? So
last year.
Yeah, last year. Yeah. So maybe a little bit more than a year. Yeah. But like the whole COVID thing kind of elongated that a good bit, but in a way that maybe it kind of gave us a little bit of space to like maybe even explore more sounds. I feel like, and then through like actually, like we got a gig there a while back in the National Concert Hall.
Oh yeah,
and that actually I think quite developed some sort of sound as well. Like I mean, there's like slight changes as we keep going, and even the arrangements now on the album have been. They're progressing again, so like it'll sound quite different to, not fully different, it's the same vibe, but you know, so it is kind of just like developing over time.
And sort of, so you know, the phrase by accident or design, but like, sometimes the changes are, you know, designated, and sometimes they're accidental, right?
Totally, and like sometimes they're just like, when you say accidental, I suppose that's it's natural. Yeah, they just kind of develop as you play together. You play more together. It's like so a lot of it is like I remember it was a few days myself and Brendan did in the studio that was supposed to be mixing days.
We were supposed to be finishing the album.
We were supposed to be finished the album, and we actually spent 2 days being like, oh, wait a sec. we could do this and we could do that, and now they're like on the album, and also they're in the live set as well. So it's like we did spend 2 days trying to finish the album. We actually just made more work for ourselves, I think.
Wonderful.
But it was really good.
But we'll say so. Look, like I know we're not going to talk about college, but like so the trust factor of of John, you finally having been, you know, you've recorded albums with Skipper's Alley, and you've been playing for a long time. So the process of it being your thing, right, and there being you know so much involved in that. So I take it that kind of the trust factor between you and Brendan is pretty critical in terms of being sure about your footing first time around, really. Yeah,
totally. It's massive like that. I think there's an element of there's some sort of synchronicity involved in that. Myself and Ultan are mad into synchronicity. We have all these like. I could tell you, mad, like really, really.
Same thing right now,
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. He was just thinking that mad and synchronicity. But like we have like mad stories about synchronicity, and I could tell you. I won't tell you today. But there is this kind of element of like everyone involved. Yeah. Like myself and Ultan, we've been kind of working together through Skipper's Alley or whatever. We have this mad synchronicity buzz, you know what I mean? But like just in terms of like say Ross, I was in school with Ross, and we used to sit in like art class and listen to jazz, and our art teacher would be just letting us, like, he'd just be like, oh yes, Thomas Stanko, he's amazing, you know, and we'd be like, oh yes,
more jazz.
But like, you know, we'd literally listen to music and everyone else be working, and he'd be like fine with it, you know. And then we drifted apart after school. And then all of a sudden, like it happened very quickly, all of a sudden we were playing together. Yeah. And with Brendan.
You mean all of a sudden in the last couple of years?
Yeah. Right, we hadn't like really hung out with Ross in 10 years. Like.
Yeah. He was just waiting there.
Yeah, he was just waiting there. And then with Brendan, it was kind of an element of like, you know, I saw him about 3 times in college. And well, I didn't show up for most of the rest of the thing, so I couldn't have seen him any more than that. And but I really liked Brendan. I remember I liked him.
He's the All-Ireland champion, you know?
Yeah, true that. But then all of a sudden, we kind of, so we have these kind of like, there is that element of, and I know it's a lot of, I'm talking a lot of like spiritual kind of, it's not really, it's just a bit of crack. But I do like to go with that flow, you know?
Yeah. You're very big into the astrology, John, aren't you?
Big into the astrology, you know me, Dónal.
What time were you born at?
Huh?
What time were you born at?
I actually don't know.
Come here. When were you born, Ultan? No, Ultan, synchronicity?
Synchronicity, Dónal.
Yes.
Yes.
Always.
Always. That's
it's like a partridge line. Synchronicity? Yeah, synchronicity.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ultan, I suppose. So Skipper's Alley was that's where you and John met, obviously. Not in the University of Skipper's Alley. Did you finish the course in Skipper's Alley?
We're only just beginning.
First years.
Yeah.
So okay, John. Just on the level of the tunes, right? Before the songs and making all this stuff happened, like what level? We'll say you're hanging around with the Pete's. Did you go to Milltown Malbay and did you do all that? Playing flute?
Yeah, yes.
And were you in the same, which school were you? We don't mention school. Is there a school?
So we went to, we were in like, it started out as Cultus in Clontarf, and that's how I would be mates with Pete's, and like, but there was like loads and loads of families, and we'd all, like our parents used to like basically either camp, or it developed into actually caravans. Everyone's parents had a caravan by the time we were teenagers, you know, and we'd drive to Milltown, and then
in a convoy,
almost in a convoy, and we'd have the caravan set up, And then
I would love to meet you.
It was amazing. Yeah, we were kids just going around to Willie Clancy. Then we'd go to Drumshambo, which was 2 weeks later.
Yeah. And
then we'd go to the Fla, which was a few weeks after that. And it'd be like 3 weeks of just total immersion into...
Yeah. So age what? Like from age very young?
Like...
From
yeah, but I don't know when my parents started going... Like, I might have been... 11, 12.
Okay.
11 or 12, yeah.
And would you go to classes then in Miltown Mountain?
Yeah. We went to classes.
And with the flute, then who would be teaching you, or was it?
I remember Harry Bradley taught me one year, and he was my favorite player at the time. You know, he's still one of my favorite players. Like, and so you get to meet these like people who are like, you know, literally the best of the best, and like, you know, they're teaching you at these like real casual festivals. You know, it's amazing.
I mean, what struck me really one that when I went to Miltown Malbay first was just, you know, how early in the day it's really about the kids and you know, and when the classes stop and the kids start playing around the place, it's so beautiful. And there's something really wonderful about the lack of a gap between the greats, the elders and the masters, and the people who are just starting. You know, I guess that's what's. So you had that thing. You were straight in there, in at the deep end with that.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. And then like there was just like we'd play sessions at night time. You know, when we got to a certain age, we'd be going to like, I can't even remember the name of there's a hotel just, it's not in the town, but like it was pretty much where all the young people kind of went, and we'd be playing sessions there till all hours, and you know, big massive sessions, you know, and it was just like you'd meet like other musicians.
Well, when you're saying massive sessions now, you're not talking about people with sound systems and
no, it's just like
talking about like, because I was in that hotel and there's rooms full of people. Like there's a room with, you know, I mean, there's just rooms full of people all playing music more or less, right?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So immersion is the word, right? So you're a product of the immersive nature of that.
Big time, yeah. And you kind of, as well, like you, as you say, you meet musicians from all over the country, and it's loads of crack. Yeah, you have friends like, and you actually like, you just like during the year you just can't wait to get back to Miltown Malbay or to the Fla or whatever, and no one else really understands what like you're 16 and you're like, I'm really into the flute, man. I'm really into tin whistle. I'm really into fiddle or whatever else. And like everyone else is kind of like, I'm really into football. Like, you know, I can't wait to like go down to the park and play football. I can't wait to get out here and go playing tunes in a pub in Miltown Malbay. Like,
and then go in convoy in caravans with guns and horses. Do you have guns and horses?
No, almost. Yeah, some. I think some of them did. Yeah.
Shoot out. But like, so look, John, can I just move forward again to the present time, right? So look, it's fair to say that like from what you said at the beginning there, you've been coming up the crest of the wave that's been happening. It's real, right? I mean, totally, you know, you're right in the middle of it. So it's fair to say that there's been a kind of I don't know, it's probably hard to put you on the spot and say what's going on, but there is something going on, isn't there, in this country?
There seems to be, and like I don't know what it is, but like I've been playing. Maybe someone who hasn't been playing music since they were a child might be better at analysing this thing. But for me, like there's literally been Irish music around me the whole time, you know. So, but it is like, but the fact that, and then that little scene that we had with like, you know, all the lads in Skipper's Alley, and then with Lancome and then Landless, all of those, we were all just mates hanging around, and there was that interest because a lot of those lads and girls were like, you know, they weren't necessarily from a trad background. They were just really interested, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant. Yeah, this is great. There's loads of people like that are mad interested in this, and they're not from trad backgrounds. This is a really like, because before that it was like, trad is like, no one was into trad my age anyway, so I was really enthusiastic about this. And then, so I suppose that just kept expanding in terms of the interest. And then obviously, like the likes of Lancome and Landless and Vagabonds and Lisa O'Neill, whatever, like they started like doing like making records and stuff like that, and people heard them, and that obviously made it much bigger then again. But there was an element of like just people were naturally just interested.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think you describe it really well there. I mean, lads, I mean, for you, right? I mean, Ultan, you came from Bearfield and probably just came into the, well, I think I said it to you already, one of the hot stream, right? I was talking about the last time we were talking to you. But I mean, it's fair to say that, you know, it's very evident. I mean, for somebody who came from the outside, you must have been very aware of that to see just how much is flowing.
Yeah, there's an unreal scene up here too. It seems to be centred here, which is funny because when we were away playing with different Skipper's Alley things, they're always saying, "Oh, you're from Clare, the heart of the music."
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if that's, well, anyway, I won't say anything, but
well, you do need to go home in a few days, remember?
I do need to go home, and work on that new tune, the Bearfield Lasses.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so I suppose, yeah, I mean, it is, I mean, I'm really just looking for confirmation of what John was saying there, that there just seems to be, I mean, John, it's probably hard for you to kind of assess it because you are in the middle of it, you know what I mean? And as you said, it's just kind of, you know, it's a natural progression of things, and it just seems to have gathered energy, but it does seem to have, Brendan, confirmation, synchronicity?
Synchronicity.
But so, John, look, the last time I saw you play live actually was you were supporting Lancome, and it was at the Cork. It was at the Cork. Probably last year. Yeah. Well, maybe I saw you after that again. But well, apart from the concert hall, but so I suppose, I mean, have you got a plan? Oh, so again, title of the album and kind of plans for I mean, loosely plans for what you're going to do with it in terms of releasing it.
Yeah. The name is I Would Not Live Always, and in terms of releasing it, like roughly, I'd imagine March. We're gonna like probably put out a couple of singles and then release the full thing around March or April or so like that. There's no definite plan yet, and it's kind of hard to make a definite plan. Like,
yeah, of course,
because there's the element of like, I suppose that there might be more gigs next year if this whole vaccine like is successful or whatever. I don't know what the crack is there, but I'd imagine early next year. I don't really have a fully formed plan. Just when it comes to the actual release of the thing, I suppose who knows what's going to happen in the next while. So the title refers to a song that's within a group of songs, a trio of songs, John? So like there's this song called Bring Me Home, and it's a 2-verse song, a 2-verse version of On Buckley Bon, which is a Shannon song. As in, this was in English, this song, and I found another 2-line song that called I Would Not Live Always, and I thought they both worked really well together. I don't know why you could put, maybe it's because like when you're playing tunes you always pair tunes together, right? But I'd never pair a song with a song, which is, I thought that was strange, but like they're only short, and anyway I just kind of thought like it could go from this song into this song, just repeated over and over and over and over again. But yeah, it's 2 lines from a bigger hymn. It's an American hymn called I Would Not Live Always. John, that process of gaining confidence with those decisions of combining things, or just going out on a limb and being audacious and being brave and all the things that I know you are. So, but this concerted effort to make the first record, would you say that before it's even come out here on this podcast of record, would you say that like it's just instilled an appetite to just go at it again and just keep climbing, or is, you know, I know you will anyway, but you know what I mean, as in how does it feel after that, after giving it everything and putting those extra days and doing all of that? Is it just like, let me at it again? Totally. I mean, and as I was saying earlier on, the sound just keeps developing. And it's like the more I'm playing with, the more I'm collaborating with the lads, you know, it just develops and develops. And I have ideas for other songs, and I've that I will bring to the table, and I'm sure that will,
Yeah.
you know, it'll keep developing. So I as I say, like Lag Song isn't on this album.
Yeah,
I'm already thinking about the next album, and
that's what kind
I
of
was
made
already
me think of that. Is in like, God, I can't wait for that. But
I'm just like totally ready to start recording.
So just I suppose that putting those big feet of yours in the water, dipping them in the water, and is like you're on your way now. Good luck with that, John. Next stop, the Late Late Show.
Oh, can't wait, Dónal, can't wait.
I've primed you now for prime time. Okay, Ultan O'Brien, just give Ultan O'Brien.
Thank you very much.
Brendan Kenkinson and John Francis Flynn. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, John. And
Thanks,
what took you so long? Thank you.
Thanks, Dónal.
Thanks to Rico and to Ian on the stand, and to everybody here at the Sugar Club, and to all the people at home listening. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much, John. Thanks so much. Cheers. Thanks a million.